friends, welcome back to my channel for another installment of Almost 40 Things That Are Kind of Awesome. And to be honest, this series is reminding me of old school YouTube days where we would sit down on the monthly basis and share our favorites. Personally, one of my favorite kind of videos because I don't have time to do all the reviews of products and things, and also I'm just genuinely curious about what people like. And so, with that thought in mind, there's things that I like that I thought you might like to know about. So let's do this. Last time I did this video, which I will link, you can go check that out, but I definitely started with like skincare products, so why not start that again? There's a few new things I've added to the repertoire that I actually think are making a difference, and I realize that this is all like personal, my skin is my skin, your skin is your skin, but there are some things that just seem to be working that I thought you might like to know about. First thing to mention is this It Cosmetics serum. So I was sent this as a PR gift, and I gotta say, It Cosmetics has been sending me a few items, and I've loved every single one of them. So that's a thing, which is really curious from a PR perspective. Sometimes brands, work together with you on a campaign and you get paid, and other times they send you these little gifts and then you love them and then you talk about them. So it worked. Okay, so this is Bye Bye Pores Concentrated Derma Serum, and it's 10% glycolic acid and hyaluronic acid. So hyaluronic acid, I know, adds moisture back into your skin. I'm pretty sure we lose that as we get older. And so that's like what they insert into lips. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure is when people get lip injections, that's what they get. Okay, so this I put on, I would say, 3 times a week. It's definitely not an everyday thing. And if you have attacked a blemish, that's gonna sting, okay? So don't put it on when you've attacked your face. Not that I've ever done that before. I had like nothing and then I turned it into a giant blemish, so way to go me. How I use it is I will cleanse my face, then I will apply this serum, and then I apply a moisturizer and maybe some eye cream, and that's it. Because I find this kind of strong, honestly, for my skin, it's like that's enough. I don't want to just overdo it with too many chemicals on my face because I don't know how some of these chemicals are going to interact with each other. So when I use this, it's like this is the hero. What it's supposed to do is shrink your pores. I guess the glycolic acid helps do that. I think it works. I've been using this along with a few other products this past few weeks, and I'm noticing a big difference. I feel like my skin feels very glowy, feels very like just colorful, feels like it's lacking some of the usual like dark spots that I tend to see, which are not dark spots, but like my pores. Basically, I kind of obsess over my pores, and so hence the picking. And this I find is helping. So seems to be working. Like I said, I'm by no means a skincare expert, but I'm really enjoying just the feeling of it on my skin, the texture of it, and how my skin's been looking. And just, I actually think that it's helping get rid of some of these pores. So way to go, It Cosmetics. Now I mentioned that I tend to apply a nice moisturizer after I use that serum. I'm a big fan of a nice thick moisturizer at night. I think last month I might have even shown you an It Cosmetics moisturizer. I'm obsessed with that one. It's so beautiful. But then I follow this really nice woman on Instagram. Her name is Shira. I'll link her in IG below. I might forget, but if I forget, just remind me. She's a Canadian woman and she shares just skincare and makeup, and I really like her vibe. So she talked about this one on a recent post. Might have been around Prime Day. So it's Neostrata Restore, and I got this on Amazon actually. I will link it below. It will probably be an affiliate link, so just a heads up there, which means I get like a very small percentage from Amazon. So this one is Moisture Infusion Hydrating Cream, and it just checks the boxes. I don't know if this will even let you see sort of the texture, but it is a lovely, thick texture. The price is right. It is cheap. Is it $15? Maybe a little more, but I'm just saying that It Cosmetics moisturizer that I really like is about $80, I'm pretty sure. I might be pulling these numbers out of thin air. If I'm wrong, I will put a little bubble with the actual prices, but this is a lovely product, and I use this on the nights that I'm using my It Cosmetics serum because I find this is a very gentle moisturizer. I found when I used that IT Cosmetics serum and the IT Cosmetics night cream that I like, it left me with a kind of a tingly feeling, which I worried might irritate my skin over time. So this one is doing the trick. It's very gentle and it has that like, I need that really like intense moisture at night, and this does the trick. Okay, so I don't think I talked about this eye cream. I gotta admit, I'm like a late convert when it comes to eye creams. I'm not sure that they do what they are all hyped up to do, okay? I figure why not just use a really nice moisturizer? Until I tried this. This is First Aid Beauty eye cream. When I was in Sephora picking out some makeup recently, the lovely woman who was helping me recommended this. Now, what's different about this eye cream compared to others is it has a color to it. I was gonna say skin color, but that's not everybody's skin color, so it's a color. And here is what is kind of lovely about this. So it's got niacinamide brightening cream. It's called Eye Duty. It has, I want to see what it actually says on here. No, it doesn't really say. So basically what I do, morning and night, I apply this gently, boop, one little dot on each side, and then I gently tap in with my ring finger around that orbital eye, that bone. And I thought, well, is this really gonna do anything major? Well, the first few times I wore it, I noticed it had a bit of like a cooling sensation. I don't know if that was in my mind. And if I've already talked about this, that's just embarrassing, but it goes to show you how much I'm obsessed with this product. But it has a little bit of a cooling sensation, but the best part is there is like a highlight to it, a bit of a shimmer, hence the brightening element of this product. And I thought, who would want that? It seems a little dramatic. But here's what it does, friends. What I find is that, let's say on days I'm not wearing any makeup, which honestly is like 80% of the time, I will, wake up, do my very basic morning skincare, which is like water, and then I apply my eye cream, a vitamin C serum, and an SPF. And what it does is it highlights this area in a really beautiful way. So obviously I have wrinkles. I have used Botox in the past. I tend to use Botox like maybe once a year, but I haven't used it in a long time. I probably do, honestly. But it just highlights this area and draws the light and like the light kind of shimmers off of it in a very subtle way. I feel like it actually highlights my wrinkles beautifully, if that's possible. I don't know how some of you feel about wrinkles, but I do think they're quite beautiful, and I have quite the smile lines here. P.S. When it comes to Botox, I mostly focus in this area. I find under my eye doesn't really work for me. So my Botox is more like forehead. So some of you might be like, that sounds contradictory to say you like your wrinkles, but you get Botox. We are mixed, are we not? We are layered and complicated as human beings. Anyhow, this eye product is just like, I'm converted. I get it. It's gorgeous. I put it on morning and night, and I'm obsessed. Coming back to little PR gifts, I was sent a gift and I wasn't sure what I felt about it. I wasn't sure if I would use it very much. And I still, the verdict's still out. I still have to try it for a few more weeks to see like what are my results, but so far, so good. So this is from the brand Current Body Skin, and this is an LED light therapy mask. So you've probably seen these floating around on YouTube and pretty much all over Instagram because they're hilarious, right? When you see them on a person. I will not put it on my face only because I did do my makeup and I don't want to get the inside of it all dirty. So I'll include a picture. I know you've seen me on Instagram with it. Charge this guy, then when you plug it in and the charger is not connected, you turn it on, boom! You now have, I mean, it's hard to kind of see in this room here, but red light therapy, baby. Can you see that? So you put this on, boom. It sits on for about 10 minutes. It has a timer where it automatically turns off. And I use this as I'm playing video games, or I'll put a meditation on and I'll just chill for 10 minutes. Where I find this is helping me immediately. Coming back to the part where I said that I have a tendency to pick at my face. It's a very unhealthy, anxious habit that I've been trying to break my entire life. I find when I get anxious, if you know me in real life, you might see my hands just all of a sudden, like this hand specifically, probably because I'm a lefty, comes to my face and I like start picking at my face. It's not a good look. I don't often even notice I'm doing it. I was actually out with my dad. He's like, "Are you okay? Like, are you thinking about something?" Because I was like, It's like picking at my skin. Horrible. I actually find that the red light therapy is helping with the healing process. So I have a blemish here, which is somewhat hidden by makeup, but it healed like in 2 sessions, it feels like, of wearing this. So now, you know, I can't say that that's going to be the case for everybody, but it seems to be working, and there's something happening with my skin that's really quite beautiful, where it's like, I'm telling you, it's glowy. It feels like rejuvenated. And according to my trusty Alexa, it can help reduce fine lines, it can boost collagen and improve circulation, which might actually be why my blemish sort of feels like it repaired faster. So for people who are looking for more of a natural, you know, not that this is natural, but you know what I mean, non-invasive approach to aging skin and to wrinkles and that kind of stuff, this could be something really good for you. I also noticed that Current Body has the neck piece, so I kind of wish I got that too. I might get that down the road. So sometimes I'll just, like, after I do my 10 minutes, I'll take like a side of it and just put it on my neck, because you know, our neck also ages. So coming back to like when I put on my nighttime moisturizer, I also bring it down to my neck area. This absolutely feels luxurious. I'm really grateful that this brand, Current Body, sent it to me, and I will link it below. If I can get us a discount code, I will ask, but again, the link will be below. Just a brief mention, in my last episode, I talked about adrenal chill. So this was concerning this perimenopausal situation where I'm like waking up at night, and it's honestly horrifying. And it was really bad when I filmed this video last month. And so what I will say is this. With adrenal chill, I had just got it, and so I wasn't really sure like how it was working for me. So this particular brand does say that you can take one in the morning and at night. And so what I did was I was like, maybe my cortisol is like really elevated. So I took one in the morning and I took one at night for about 2 weeks, and I noticed a big difference. At the moment, my cortisol seems to be a bit lower. Like, I'm working out more regularly. I've been working on some vagus nerve techniques. Stuff I'll talk about in another video. If you're interested, let me know in the comments below, but like ways to reset your nervous system. Just stress is not great, you know, and I think in our lives, no matter our circumstances, there will probably be stress, and so sometimes it's higher than others. Anyhow, all of that to say, I'm still a big fan. I take at least one at night, and when I find my sleep gets really wonky, I'll take one in the morning and one at night to help balance my cortisol, and it's working. I mentioned that, you know, when I wear that red light therapy mask, that sometimes I'll listen to a meditation. And there's lots of different places you can get your meditation, but an honorable mention goes to Insight Timer, which is a free app that my whole family uses actually, and we don't pay for the premium subscription, but my kids like a couple of their sleep meditations, specifically Yuri and the Dragon, and I'll link that particular meditation if I can below. If not, just search Yuri and the Dragon, but it's a really nice one. It's kind of long, it's about 45 minutes. So if your kids kind of struggle with sleeping, it's a really nice thing to play. Then you can set your phone where it just turns off automatically. You tap the screen as the meditation is playing and your phone stays black. So it's not like it's adding light to your room. Love it. And then for yourself, you know, I sometimes choose like a 5 or 10 minute meditation and I just play it. You can have guided meditations. You can have, there's programs, like there's so many things within the app. Insight Timer is a nice way to just slow down, work on your breathing. It's known that we don't breathe deep enough, and so to take some time to do special breathing exercises can really help with stress reduction, which ultimately affects your sleep, right? All good things. Who else loves to read? I do. So I'm a big fan of my Kindle. I know some of you are not the e-reading type. Currently, I'm reading Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. By the way, that is like an 8-book series, and I'm on the last book, and I'm at 77% of the book. So we are getting there, and it is such a great story. Definitely in the fantasy realm. It is fairies. It is like fae, not like fairies, not like little dainty Tinkerbells, but like fae warriors, you know? I freaking love it. I feel like my life in this season needs magic, needs mystery, and that book is crossing all those. It's checking off all those boxes. So once I'm done this book, my plan is to start the 4th wing. Everybody's been raving about it who likes fantasy style of books. And by the way, this is just a cute little case that I found on Amazon. that holds your Kindle in place. I know I've shown this before. So when you read, you just kind of like, you know, you can like loop your hand through it and then tap along. And why I really enjoy my Kindle is because often I read at night and I like the backlit element of reading. So I read at night, I find it like hypnotizes me to sleep, and the backlight means I don't have to have any lights on in my room, so I can just read using the light from this. So love this. You know, movement is super important to me. I do have a home gym and everything. And most recently, I've been doing the exercises from a YouTuber called Cheryl Coulomb. I feel like I already told you guys this, and I'm sorry if I did. She's amazing. I don't know like what exactly I'm doing differently, but I'm down 5 pounds, and I know that weight loss isn't the goal. But I've talked about this before. My body changed over the last couple of years, which I think is normal as hell. But, you know, I just kind of like sitting at a different weight and not really loving it. And by increasing my weightlifting and strength training, so Cheryl only does strength training, and I really push myself on the heavy, like the weights that I use. I try to always use heavier until burnout almost. She's also, I'd say, in her 50s. She looks amazing, and she swears by these like do 3 times a week. And I've been doing it, and I've been seeing a huge difference. So again, I will link everything below. Her channel. She's got a really nice pace to her workout videos, and they're free. And who doesn't love a free workout? So I do like to switch up my routines here and there, and right now my body is just loving the weightlifting, and it's good for your bones. It helps you age well and in like a healthy way. So if you have not started lifting weights and you're a woman about my age, give it some thought, try it out. So I'll link that channel and let me know what you think if you do try her exercises. I definitely love listening to podcasts. I have a whole, video series on my favorite podcasts. And for some reason, I've been a bit of a late adapter to Mel Robbins. I follow her on Instagram. I like the messages she shares. I don't know why I didn't pick up her podcast sooner, but anyhow, in the last few weeks, I've had a couple of people, even my therapist, send me links to some of her episodes, and I finally just listened. And it's so good. I'm kind of annoyed at myself that it took me this long to actually start listening. So there's 2 episodes in particular that I would love for you guys to listen to if you're interested. I'm gonna link them below. It'll likely be the Apple Podcast version, so just a heads up. But what you can do is click on it and then save it to listen to when you get a chance. But the first episode was like 6 words that will change your life. And I was like, that's pretty dramatic. That's a big ask. But I actually think that they have. So I'll tell you the 6 words, but then you got to go listen to the episode because it's not going to have the same impact. But basically it's, what if it all works out? What if it all works out? And how I apply those words is when I start to have my worry spiral. And I do, because I'm a person who kind of tips into anxious feelings and things. And so I have a tendency to, I don't want to do it, but it happens that I can get a little like stressed and start like operating at an octave that only dogs can hear, and it's like, that's not healthy. So in those moments, I say to myself, Amanda, be deep breath. What if it all works out? And you're like, what if? And there's science that shows, and Mel will explain this better, that how your brain, instead of continuing to catastrophize what's happening, you start thinking up solutions. And when you think of solutions, you calm down. Your energy is able to calm a little bit, and you're not like spiraling out of control. So that episode was, honestly, I think about it probably once a day. So I'm surprised. And that was one of her solo episodes. And then another episode, which, oh my God, this episode is so good. I'm like, how do we bring this into the school systems? How do we teach people about this? And it was an episode with her and a doctor, and they spoke about women's health and hormones. And I probably learned more about my body and my hormones than I ever have before. And like, I think I know some things, but I learned about how estrogen and progesterone kind of work together and why I'm experiencing certain perimenopausal symptoms, even though I'm only 39, or like, I shouldn't be experiencing menopause. No, you're not. It's what's happening in the lead up to it, how do we better work with our bodies rather than against them? How do I, just basically feel great in my own body? Anyway, it was astounding. And so it's women's health focused, understanding hormones. I'm going to link those episodes. And her episodes vary from all sorts of different topics. I've just really been enjoying it. And it's kind of fun too when you are a late adapter to a podcast, because now I have like this whole library of episodes and I kind of just scroll around and figure out one that kind of suits my mood for the day. And I will say too, her personality is quite fun. Like, she's in her 50s and kind of gives no fucks. Like, she just responds the way feels natural, and you can tell there's a real ease and comfortable energy that she has within herself that she's able to convey with her guests, and I dig it. So, new podcast I'm loving. If you have any podcasts you'd like to share with me, especially that are hosted by women and like surrounding women's health, like I'm really curious about that right now. Let me know below. 2 more items on my list, but as you know, I'm a big fan of gaming, okay? This Switch of mine could probably, I think we're missing a little cover over here, but I love my Switch. I got this, I got my Switch a few years ago now. I actually worked on a couple of campaigns where there were Switches involved, and then I bought my kids one, and anyhow, huge fan. I like video games that have an easy pace, that are very relaxing. I literally use my Nintendo Switch to relax, and so I was a huge fan of Animal Crossing, but then I kind of finished that game, and it's a little bit too slow for me now. Like, I'm done. I built everything. I farmed everything. There's nothing left for me in Animal Crossing. So I was debating between a few games and I settled on Fae Farm. So Fae Farm, we're not surprised that Amanda likes anything involving Fae because I love fairy stories. But it has like a farm vibe to it. Little portals where you're jumping between locations. It's really fun. I'm on chapter 7 and I think there's 8 chapters, and this game is actually taking me a lot longer to work through than I thought. So I love like Lego, anything Lego games I really enjoy. I like when there's tasks to do, but it's not like super stressful and you're fighting like the big lord or whatever, the end of the chapter you have to like fight something. It stresses me out and I'm trying to lower my cortisol, okay? But Fae Farm, I was a little worried because it was kind of the same price as some of the bigger games, like about $79, $80. I was like, oh God, that's expensive. But I can honestly say I've enjoyed it so much. Like, if you're looking for a game that's kind of chill, a little bit like Animal Crossing, that's gonna take up time. Like, you can't really rush through the chapters. There's certain tasks you have to do. I've only had to like look up a few hints because I'm like, I need to know how to get past this thing and how do I do that faster. So only a few times, but I'm a big fan. I enjoy it. So if you have any games that kind of fall into that gentle vibe, let me know because I'm about to wrap this one up and I'm gonna need a new game soon. And the last thing that I have been loving, and I am so surprised by this, is volunteering. I don't know that I've ever really volunteered in the capacity that I am right now. So basically, we enjoy going to some of our local heritage villages. And what that is, if you haven't been to one, is it's like a living museum. So I learned that, back when Canada, so about 50 years ago, Canada was celebrating its 100th birthday. And at the time, they wanted to really celebrate Canadian history. And so they came up with this idea to have living museums where people would wear historical outfits and they would sort of do tours of locations that were, of historical importance in Canada and really feel like they've brought you into an experience, a very immersive type of museum experience. And so we love to hit up those types of places in our neighborhood. And then one day last year, we were walking at our favorite one and I was like, hey, I noticed that some of the buildings aren't open. And the really nice fellow who was a volunteer said, well, this is a completely volunteer-run organization, and if we don't have volunteers, like, the buildings aren't open. So then I looked at my Esme and I was like, hey, girlfriend, my daughter, I'm like, you think you'd ever want to volunteer? And she jumped at the chance and I was like, oh. And then we kind of like let it simmer and we kind of forgot about it. Anyway, long story short, fast forward about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, we got onboarded. And so Esme and I are now historical interpreters. And as I'm saying this, I probably have some photos that have popped up on the screen where we are wearing our outfits. And these outfits are from the early 1900s. And the house that we're in is about 1907. And it was brought from Hamilton over to this area. And it's really interesting. So like we have a whole book that we have to learn about the house that we're in. And when people come in as visitors, we would tell them little bits and pieces about the home. And it's actually like such a fun experience. It's so silly and I freaking love it. I love it so much. I love that Esme wants to do it with me. It was a little bit of like, you know, the orientation element. I was so proud of her for sitting through it because it was kind of long, but she did it. She did her fire safety training, the whole thing. It is extremely well run. I've learned so much about Canada and our museum, our museums and how they are run so often by volunteers. And it's kind of wild to me that without the volunteers, these places wouldn't happen. I'm talking like they are the ones who are making the costumes, who are helping organize the costumes. And then some of these volunteers have been doing it for 25 plus years. It blows my mind and they treat them so well. And my experience so far has been really wholesome and lovely. And so we volunteered last weekend. We didn't wear our cutesy outfits. We were just doing something for for Halloween. But Esme is just like so confident, such a little, I'm just proud of her, you know, and it's so neat to see her blossom in this way. And then bonus is that when you're in school in Canada, I'm pretty sure it's just high school, but you need to acquire volunteer hours. And so she already now has this ability to get these volunteer hours. So it's a little bit like slow for us for the rest of the year, but then it picks back up in March. And so we'll be able to get some more volunteering going. There is also all of this research to state that when you volunteer, you create really good feelings in your body in terms of feeling like you have a sense of purpose, that there is this sense of worth that you are contributing, and that has a very positive impact on our brains and how we feel about ourselves in terms of our self-confidence and self-esteem. And so as an adult, I feel really grateful and I'm very acknowledging of this experience. But as a mother to a teen girl, a tween, you know, this is a really important and even sometimes a little bit scary time of their life, like where their confidence can plummet. You see young girls and teens dropping out of sports because of self-esteem issues and body confidence issues. And it's like, it's literally one of my top goals to try to nurture and protect that flame of my daughter. And if that means that I'm going to be giving up some Sundays to hang out at this place and volunteer with her, then I'm going to do it. And yeah, I was a little overwhelmed. Like, I don't know if I have the time to do this, but you make the time for what's important. And honestly, all I really do on Sundays anyway is fold laundry, so it's fine. I'll fold laundry over the TV time instead. But it's an amazing experience and it's really changed my perspective on volunteering. And I think in our minds, you think like a soup kitchen, or that's in my mind, that was like the only option. And what I'm here to tell you is there's a lot more and a lot like different versatile and different experiences you can have in terms of volunteering. And it's been really nice so far. We're just at the start of our journey, but I highly recommend it. And that's it. Those are my favorites. Gosh, there's so much to actually talk about once you get going. I thought, I'm not gonna have much to say for this month. As if. I look forward to sharing with you favorites next month. Definitely share some of yours in the comments below. I think so many of us are in a very similar season, and you know, we have this little extra time for ourselves, and how can we spend it wisely, you know? So thank you for being here. Subscribe if you're new, and I will catch you with another episode, at least another video next week. Who knows what it's gonna be? I always switch it up. Okay, I'll see you in the next one. Bye.